Hello and welcome back to the medieval wars between RVK and TyRanT. This is the grand finals and we're currently on game 6, and as you already know, the score lies at 4-1 to TyRanT right now. And going into game 6, whoever wins this one will obviously go up 1 point. This is going to be a 3v3 on the map Sand Maze. Now, Sand Maze is taken from the light random map pack, and it's a pretty interesting map. We'll have a look at the map before we have a look at the players, and mix things up a little bit. And you'll see that this sand, it's a little bit weird. It's got trees on it, but it's also got a fish in the sand. There's a lake in the center with a lot of big fish, but what does it mean, the fact that you can have fish on the side? What does it mean? It means that you can actually send your fishing ships onto the sand. You can send your war galleys and your galleys or whatever onto the sand. And it's pretty weird because it's passable by both boats and units. It's a bit like shallows, but it's sand. But there's also trees on there. It's very strange. As far as I know, I don't think you can build on this sand here, but it's pretty cool map. It's all the players are separated by the sort of sandy bit, so it's certainly possible that any ships or any units can cross into your base very easily if you don't wall up. So it's like, imagine having shallows surrounding your base. Kind of makes it a little bit difficult. The map also has, as I said, this big lake in the center, and there is a lot of very large big fish in here. So it's certainly worth making a dock on the edge right here and taking fishing in the Dark Age and the Feudal Age. So it's kind of a weird map because at first glance it looks like a land map with a lake in the center, but grushing is certainly a possibility, and grushing could also give you a good edge later on if you end up upgrading to war galley on galleon, for instance, or even getting bombard galleys out, whatever they're called, and putting them out here and putting them onto to attack the golds and things like that. So it's certainly worth taking the sand, not the water. It's very odd. But anyway, we've got down to the west of the map in blue. We've got Doubt, who's playing for TyRanT, obviously. He is playing as Teutons. And the pocket position, Jordan 23 in grey, playing as Mayans in grey, down to the very bottom. And over to the right of him, we've got the Viper playing as Japanese in red. And Japanese, pretty good water civilization, as they do get cheaper costed buildings at the start, so that their lumber camps, mills, things like that cost a little less, which gives them a little bit of a boost in their wood. Now that means you can get up a dock nice and early, and you can make plenty of fishing ships as well. Their fishing ships also have an extra line of sight, but that's not really all too useful for them anyway. Viper's getting a little bit caught out there with his scout. Anyway, on the other team, we've got RVK Dogout in purple off to the east of the map. He's playing as Japanese as well, so it's Japanese mirrored on the right. Chris in green in the pocket position playing as Mayans, so that again is going to be mirrored, opposite and opposite. And in yellow on the west of the map for RVK, we've got Stark playing as Teutons, so once again mirrored Teutons and Teutons on the left. Mirrored civs, really common thing to see in AOC these days, and it's pretty cool that we can actually have mirrored civs. I don't know if they actually chose mirrored or if they actually chose their civs separately. I can't actually remember the settings to set these games up, as they were played a while ago and I only just got the recs. So, anywho, so Stark and Chris and Dogo in the north, Jordan, Doubt and Viper in the south. Chris is Mayans in pocket, and so is Jordan 23, and that's actually a pretty big deal. Mayans, of course, really strong in the late game, pretty strong from castle onwards, really, but having Mayans in the pocket is always good. It does mean that when they get into the late game, they can really become a powerhouse, and they can take full advantage of either making eagles or plumed archers, which are always a good unit choice in a lot of situations. Very versatile units, very good units to use. And one other thing to note as well is, as we can see already, the Viper walling up, and this map, whilst yes, it's kind of hard to wall, you can't really wall this. You could if you went all the way around the edge of the shallows, but it's fairly easy to wall the inner sort of ring. Each base has sort of like a ring of trees that's slightly broken in between, and it makes a fairly easy wall if they want to. So players can wall up pretty easily, and I think most of them will, because this map, obviously, as I said, very easy to traverse, very easy, hard to wall in the center, and so walling up behind this is certainly a good idea if you want to prevent yourself getting harassed. But one interesting thing is that the Viper's walling up very early here. He's actually walling up way before anyone else, and it's kind of unusual to see him making walls so early on, especially in the Dark Age. He has just clicked up to feudal on 24 population, but he's walling up already, which is interesting to me. Now, one thing that we could see the Teuton players do is go for scouts. Scouts obviously very maneuverable, and that means that they can get across this map very easily, and as it is open, as I said, they could probably poke a little bit at other players' woods, and Teutons, as they are a pretty reasonable cavalry civilization, they might make knights in the Castle Age, making their feudal age army to be scouts is a good choice, as it means that they can transition fairly nicely into going knights, as their economy is going to be fairly set up for that. But currently, it does seem like Doubt transitioning massively onto the wood there, and it looks like TyRanT is going to make a big galley rush in the center of the map. Now, Stark up to feudal. Who else? No, that's Stark up to feudal first, and he's actually not made a dock anywhere. Doubt just saying he's going barracks and stable, so Stark going to be making those scouts, and Doubt scouting that out very nice and early, keeping an eye on what Stark is doing, so he knows that he can expect very shortly a scout rush incoming. Now he's either going to have to wall up, or he's going to have to make barracks, make some spearmen to defend with. At the moment, though, Stark, as I said, already up to feudal and coming forwards with some more villagers also. Doubt could be under a little bit of pressure here, putting up a barracks and starting to wall up as quickly as he can. Stark may be able to do something about this though. We'll see. He's got quite low health on this cavalry, scout cavalry, but spearmen coming in as well. Perhaps he'll pick up a villager, maybe he'll stop the wall from going up. At the moment though, gonna have to be careful, as he will lose these units fairly quickly if he's not careful. There we go, Stark's scout getting taken down, and Doubt's going to try and wall up as quickly as he can here. Doubt could lose a villager, though it's a little unlikely at this stage. That spearman is getting very low indeed. But Stark is bringing more villagers over around the side, and we'll have a look back at what's going on there in just a moment. Everyone else, however, seems to be grushing. Dogao 2 docks, and he's making galleys right now. The Viper 3 docks, making galleys. Chris just the 1, and Jordan 3 as well. So TyRanT certainly going to be getting a lot more galleys out very soon. And it could be the case that RVK surrender the water, as it looks like to me, Chris fast castling in the pocket position, Jordan not fast castling at all. He's still feudal, and he's starting to make galleys on the water here, and I think TyRanT really wanting to take control of the water, prevent RVK from fishing, and use that to their advantage. Little issues for Doubt here. Stark starting to tower his gold, and he is stopping him from making any galleys, but I don't think that's really necessary for him to do, as the Viper and Jordan seem to be winning water over there. But for now, Stark just trying to pick off a villager. Very, very close right there. Almost got one, but so far his harassment not being too effective. He's not managed to kill any villagers just yet, I don't think, but he's keeping at it, keeping these spearmen in, trying to hit and run wherever he can with those scouts, bringing some more in as well. And this tower is fairly nice also. It means that he can pressure this a lot easier and defend his units behind this tower. So nice play by Stark, deciding to go with some really nice forward pressure. And Doubt having to tower behind it. It looks like right now he'll be able to defend against this reasonably well. Dogao trying to rush the fishing ships here, but he's got nowhere near enough galleys in the centre of the map. The Viper and Jordan clearly taking water control here. It doesn't look like RVK have any fishing ships left at all right now. I think possibly the last one going down for Dogao, and that's a really big deal. We can see already how many fishing ships the Viper, Doubt and Jordan have. Jordan less fishing ships right now, but they will add more, and there's a lot of fish to be had in this area. So RVK is not looking so great on the water, and that's going to impact quite largely over the course of the game. Stark as well, seems like he's kind of given up pressure here, but the scouts are going to try and go elsewhere. Chris has got a rogue fishing ship running away. Those scouts could turn around and attack the galleys. Galleys do go down very quickly to melee units because they don't have any melee armor, only pierce armor. So those scouts could have turned around and attacked the galleys, but instead they're going to run straight in. Stark knows that the Viper's open as he's got an Eagle Warrior in there trying to, well, Chris has got an Eagle Warrior in there. And the Viper now having to put a blacksmith their barracks up and wall up quickly to try and defend from this. Losing one villager, maybe going to lose another if she can't get back. Looks like she's going to be absolutely fine actually. And Viper's walled up. But he is going to try and wall this up with stone, and that's interesting. We've also got Dogao walling up with stone as well. Now, does that mean we're going to see some slinging action? Well, I don't know for sure, but Dogao, he's got a market up. He's not got a blacksmith or any second feudal age building. So it could be that Dogao is planning to sling. The Viper also, a market up, walls up, and he looks like it's going to try and sling. Who is he going to sling though? Is he going to sling both Doubt and Jordan? Or will he just sling one of them? We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. And I'll keep things on Viper for now. Switching between Viper and Dogao, I think, to see who is going to be slinging who. It certainly looks like Dogao's going to make a sling, though his food count is getting reasonably high. He's also got enough gold to advance up to the castle age, so maybe he's not actually going to sling, and maybe he is just actually going to go up to castle right now. Interesting, as it's weird that he would wall up like that if he wasn't planning on slinging and building a market but no second feudal age building. Maybe he's forgotten to build the feudal age building, I don't know. Or am I just missing it? I don't see where that is. They've also lost water as well. So RVK, I think they need to act pretty quickly. They need to... Oh, he's making a blacksmith now. So yeah, he'll go for a castle age. I think RVK need to put the pressure on and really try and... If they can't take the water back, at least try and hit them hard at their bases. Because otherwise, TyRanT are going to make full use of the fishing in the center. And it's going to be very hard for RVK to bounce back from that. So Doubt up to the castle age. He's got quite a few fishing ships here. Been undisturbed with them. And he's got 3 stables, making knights 3 at a time. And if we have a look, he has been slung by the Viper there. A lot of gold in the bank. A lot of food as well. +1 already done. +1 attack already done. And we'll probably see +2 coming in very shortly. Viper still sending tribute to Doubt, and Doubt saying that Stark is fully walled. Who can he hit? Well, Chris, he's in the pocket position. He's pretty open, but he's got a castle up already. He's been up to castle for a little while, it seems, and he's starting to make plumed archers. The problem for Chris, though, is that 3 or 4 plumed archers, they're okay, well, sort of against unupgraded knights in a small bands, but if Doubt is being slung like he is, he's going to have these knights fully upgraded very shortly. He's already got bloodlines, he's already got +1/+1, and they are going to make pretty short work of the plumed archers as well. Stark still trying to find a way in with these scouts, and he's really not been able to do all that much with them, to be honest with you. He's tried to do what damage he can, but TyRanT have been quick to wall, and it's kind of unusual for them to wall up like that, but that's what they've done, and it seems like it's paying off. They've still got the water in the middle as well, and RVK are certainly going to have their economies are certainly going to be further behind later on in the game. So Doubt now, with a lot of knights coming over to Chris and trying to hit the Mayan player where they can, because Mayans, of course, as I said at the start of this game, really strong, really a big powerhouse in the late game if they get the ball rolling. And if you can cut them down early and delay them from getting their massed plumed archers and elite plumed archers, all those upgrades, then you can really make the best of a situation. Chris there really slow to gather those villagers inside the TC, losing 4 pretty unnecessarily, and the knights from Doubt now with +2 defense are going to make, well, lay waste, I think, to Chris's economy wherever they can, and this is really not ideal for Chris. Now I'm curious to know if Chris is being slung. It doesn't look like he is, because Dogao obviously went up to the castle age there. And Chris now sending those plumed archers across the map to try and harass Viper by looks of things. But getting headed off by the galleys. It's kind of interesting to see the galleys fighting the plumed archers on the same land. Doubt still doing so much damage to Chris's economy, and this is really bad. He's lost so many villages. He's got 3 TCs completely garrisoned. And he needs to upgrade to Bodkin Arrow as quickly as he can, because these TCs aren't doing that much damage with only fletching researched. So Doubt doing a lot of damage to Chris there. You can see his score jumping way ahead thanks to the sling as well. And still spamming those knights across the map. Doubt going to have a very large army shortly. And Chris, he needs some help. He can't do this on his own. Doubt can stick under his TCs for quite a long while, and if Chris can't get out to gather any resources, he can't do anything. So he's in a really bad spot, and he needs some help from his teammates. Looks like Dogao is just booming up right now. 4 TCs from him, no army so to speak of. Stark as well, 4 TCs, really big boom, but no army. Whilst Chris, well, Chris is not going to be able to boom at all at this rate, as Doubt is just going to constantly keep his villages garrisoned. There's very little he can do. He does need to get Bodkin Arrow when he can. He's continuing to make plumed archers as well, but as I said, these only have +1. They don't have Bodkin Arrow, and Doubt has almost fully upgraded knights right now. So plumed archers going to be pretty hard pressed to actually kill these knights off. Doubt doing a great job, and Viper still slinging by looks of things, still in feudal age, still slinging. And he's going to do that for quite some time by the looks of things. Maybe when Doubt and Jordan get up to the Imperial age, maybe then they will upgrade to the... he will upgrade to the Castle age. So it's really interesting to me that Dogao and Stark are just booming up on the flanks. Pretty unattested as well. They are going to be able to keep booming and booming, but they need to... They can't just boom. This is what I was saying earlier. TyRanT have all the fish in the middle. Their economies are going to be in great shape. They don't need to build 4 TCs to still stay strong. In fact, if we have a look, Jordan has 3, and both flanks just have, well, Doubt has 2. Obviously, Viper has 1 as he's still in feudal. But they're not really booming all that much because they have the fish in the middle. So they're pretty damn good in this situation right now, and Doubt with this many knights as well is going to be able to hit and run wherever he pleases. He's already set Chris back quite a long way, and that is a really big play for TyRanT at this stage. See what Doubt is going to do right now. Going to try and find somewhere to poke and push, but as I said, Stark fully walled. Same for Dogao as well, and I'm kind of just waiting to see what they're going to do. At this stage, TyRanT can pretty much just sit back, let the Viper sling them up to Imperial, and then start to push out from there. Doubt adding in another stable, and the Viper is still slinging, it seems. They're saying sling him, so maybe they're going to sling Jordan now. Jordan adding in a castle on the front, and Jordan's going to go for plumed archers by the looks of things. He really has no reason not to. Chris has got a reasonable amount of plumes up in the north. I still don't think it's enough to deal with this amount of knights and the mangonel that Doubt has now built. And he's going to try and break down Stark's walls. Stark, of course, with no army at this stage, just defending behind a double-layered wall, and he's going to have to be very careful. Doubt just turning on Chris, and Chris he does not have enough plumed archers. He's still lacking +2 attack. He's going to make very, very short work of them. Doubt now +2/+2 and bloodlines done, and he is in a pretty damn good situation. Map control very firmly in TyRanT's favour. Viper with a weird villager over here. I'm not sure what's going on there, but putting a house. She must be a nomad. Anyway, Doubt up to the Imperial age right now, and he's got a lot of food in the bank. He's got a lot of gold as well, and Cavalier already being researched. This is going to be an absolute roll for TyRanT at this rate, as RVK just really don't have anything to... They don't have any army. It's alright having the biggest economy in the world, but if you've got no army and no military production buildings, you're eventually just going to get whittled down, and you might get to the stage where you just can't catch up. Chris losing a lot of plumed archers there. They are getting taken down very quickly indeed. And Doubt now still being slung by the Viper, still upgrading to Cavalier, and still making knights. He's in a great position. Jordan also, I think now, just clicking up to Imp. Yeah, he's nearly there. Nearly up to Imp. And he's going to have castles out on the front. Second castle going up. Third castle perhaps on the way fairly shortly. Still taking quite a bit of stone by looks. And he's going to be making plumed archers. They're going to be upgraded to elite fairly shortly as well. And Chris now walling up, trying to defend as best he can. But Doubt there with so many knights, even trapped between two castles, he's doing pretty good. Cavalier is upgraded now as well. And if he focuses down this house, then Doubt is going to get in, and Chris is not going to be able to do anything at all. He's just clicked up to Imp, but it's a little bit late. Very, very close. Can Doubt get in? It looks like he should be able to. Yet, there's a gap, and there's no way that Chris is going to be plugging that gap, I don't think. If Doubt just concentrates on piling them in. Oh my god. Come on. This is ridiculous. Chris actually plugging the gap. That's crazy. I actually didn't think that was possible. Or is it still open? It's still open. Wow, what a mess. What an absolute mess. But Doubt throwing away quite a few Cavalier here, but even so, he's trying to force his way in, and if Chris can't actually get this wall up, it looks like he's trying. Doubt just keeps trying to get in there, and he might be able to stop Chris from walling up and do huge, huge damage. Dugout now paying tribute to Chris. He did indeed boom and sling. Kind of a weird way to do it, but he's kind of making some sling to him. Chris he's got a lot of resources. He's just not really able to spend them at the moment, and Doubt is definitely into his base. There is no questions asked about that. Taking out those villagers. It doesn't look like Chris has murder holes either, which does mean that Doubt can keep attacking these castles without actually being attacked at the base. So Doubt in a nice position. Chris losing these castles very rapidly indeed. And I think now the Viper should be upgrading to the castle age as well. Yes, he is. And he's got a pretty big economy back at home, unharassed this entire game. Upgrading to castle. Maybe he'll continue to sling from there. Maybe he'll start making some units of his own. But that's quite impressive. Doubt taking out Chris's castle without even any siege. Just literally just hacking away at it with swords. And it is going to fall. Doubt as well. More Cavalier on the way. Chris finally up to Imp, but his plan was to go for plumed archers, I think. Now that's been completely turned around. He's had to build barracks behind here, and it looks to me like, there we go, get Chris up. Yeah, he's going to have to make halberdier at this stage. Paladin's done for Doubt, no questions asked about that, and he is fully upgraded. Problem now is there is quite a lot of pikemen out. For now, he can probably fight them head on, but once they do get upgraded to halberdier, they are going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. But Jordan, he's got 3 castles out on the front, a 4th is about to go up, and plumed archers being streamed across the map. You can make all the halberdier you like, you make all the halberdier in the world, but they are not going to win against massed plumed archers, which is exactly what Jordan's doing, and exactly what Doubt is saying as well. He's saying he needs plumes, which is absolutely understandable. But it took Chris quite a long time to defend that, and as a result he did lose both castles on the front. No plumed archers for him, and he is going to have to spam halbs, which is pretty anticlimactic, I suppose. After the amount of sling that he got from Dugout, you can see how much gold, wood and food he's got. He's really unable to spend it, and building trash, not really what he wants to do, even if it is a counter to what Doubt is making right now, because they will die so quickly to the plumed archers. And we can see already Jordan bringing them in, and if they just turn on on Chris right now, they can probably make pretty short work of him. Plumed archers then going to make pretty short work, as I said, of the halberdier. They're getting taken out, and Chris is going to be pretty hard pressed to do much. They're kind of leaving Stark alone right now. He is up to the Imperial age, building out on the left hand side, but Cavalier researched for him. Quite a lot of stables back here. If he can actually mass up enough paladins, then he could come in from behind or even hit Doubt back at home. But they're really focusing down on Chris here, and that is for the reason that he is the Mayan player, and Mayans really are a powerhouse in the Imperial age. As I said though earlier, map control is so in favour of TyRanT right now. And Jordan, it seems like he's just able to spam plumed archers all day long. So much food and gold in the bank, lots of wood as well, but it's the gold and the wood that he needs. Spamming those plumed archers, and he's almost a population cap. See what Doubt is at right now, a little bit less. but it's kind of expected. He's making much more expensive units. Paladins cost a lot more than the plumes, and for obvious reasons, the Teuton player is going to have less units on the map. But this forward castle here means the Trebs are going to be able to come out. Although he's researching conscription, and Dogao saying GG right there, Chris as well. And that's it. RVK going to give it up, and really they did not put up much of a fight at all, let's be honest. That was kind of a little bit of an anticlimactic game. I was really expecting that RVK would, once they'd lost the water, I expected that they would just try and go really hardcore pressure onto TyRanT and try and either take out their boats or at least take map control so that they could take the boats out later and keep them penned into their bases. But they played really passively. Stark and Dogao both just walling up and booming on 4, even 5 TCs, I think. 4 TCs, yeah, for both of them. It's kind of a little bit boring on RVK's part. Stark, even after all that boom, still made it up to the Imperial Age quite late in comparison to Doubt and Jordan, Doubt and Chris even, who granted were slung, but even so, it was a little too little, a little too late, and I don't think Stark even made it out of his base, so kind of a little bit rubbish. You can't really fight 2v1, even with a sling. And yeah, TyRanT taking it. That's 5-1 to TyRanT then, and Game 7 will be coming up very shortly, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. As usual, I've been Zach, and I will see you next time.